Welcome to the Point Noted Podcast with your host, Johnny B, and co-host who shows up whenever he wants to, former NFL player, Rashad Barksdale. It's raw, unfiltered, and no topic is off limit. We talk sports, entertainment, culture, and a whole lot of random shit. Let's get to the point.
Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Point Noted Podcast, and you're hanging out with your host, Johnny B. So today, we got my favorite sport. That's what we're talking about today. So if you're listening, you know me, you know I'm talking about soccer. So the guy on the show today is a professional soccer player from LA Galaxy to FC Cincinnati, now to Indy 11. My man just out here living his dream and doing his thing, man. So I'm glad he's here so we can talk, growing up playing soccer. Why soccer? Why not basketball or baseball? The journey from high school to college and college to the pros, and just the whole journey of going from a kid to an adult and being a professional soccer player. So it will be a fun conversation. So kick back, relax, enjoy it, and let's get into it, man. So we got Kenney Walker on the house. Kenney, what's going on, my man?
How you doing?
How are you, my man?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
Not bad, man. Not bad. So being a soccer junkie myself, I always love having anyone that plays, watches, a fan, a fanatic of the game. I always love having them on the show just to talk, just to pick the brain. So I'm glad you're here, and we can definitely have some fun soccer conversation, especially after talking to Kia. He definitely makes sure I heard everything that has to do with the game.
Yeah, that's for sure. He'll let you know.
Yeah. He's talking to Kia was fun, but I told him we need to do more soccer talk because we'll definitely talk more about growing up in life and just the support and the help that it gives to everybody. But I get a feeling he has a lot more soccer to share. So I told him we got to do another one so we can actually talk formations and talk strategy and training and development. It seems like you have tons of knowledge in that. But before we jump into all of that, so I'm just going to give a brief introduction so people know who I'm talking to. So I'm talking to Kenney Walker, and he's currently a professional soccer player for Indy 11 in Indiana, based in Indianapolis, Indiana. So Kenney, how did you get into soccer, man? How did that all started out for you?
Pretty much I wasn't crazy about it in the beginning, but I played baseball and all that stuff growing up until I was about 7. And then I had so much energy, I got tired of standing in the outfield. My parents had to find something else for me to do.
Right.
So they just threw me into soccer, and they didn't know too much about it. They saw you could run around and get a lot of energy out. But it turned out that I was actually pretty good at it at a young age. And started pretty much halfway through that first year I played. I got seen by a couple coaches, and they said I was pretty good at it.
Soccer's hard, though. So, obviously, you have to be a special talent because soccer's hard to play if you don't start early. Like, starting at 7, that's amazing to do that. Like, I would never encourage any parent to let their kid wait that long to touch the ball. So, you must just have an eye for the ball.
Yeah, I didn't know that 7 was a late age to start until I was older, and I heard people were starting at like 2-3 years old playing soccer.
Mm-hmm.
But I just gravitated towards it, and I had a lot of very good coaches growing up, and they helped me in so many different ways on and off the field.
Right. What was the biggest adjustment going from baseball to soccer?
I think it was more of like the team sport thing early on, because like baseball is it's a team sport, but it's a lot of individual stuff that you just take care of on the field. And then on the soccer field, you got to work with 10 or 11 other players at the same time while you're playing. And right. I was very good at dribbling through everybody, so I didn't even pass the ball to begin with.
That is crazy, dude. Like at 7, to be able to say you started playing soccer at 7 and you were good dribbling through it. Like I know 10-year-olds right now that's been playing since they were 3 and 4, and they still can't dribble past 1 or 2 guys. So, yeah, because I coach U16s, I coach U11, and I coach college teams. So for me to listen to that, and I know like I have a lot of U16 that I have to still teach us how to dribble the ball and how to bring it down and trap and all of that. Like, dude, that's amazing, man. To be able to say, okay, at 7 I started playing and I was killing. That's pretty special.
Yeah, it was a lot of God-given stuff from the beginning, but
Right.
it takes a lot more than just that to get to like professional and college and all that stuff, and that's where the coaches came in and helped me a lot.
Right. 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 When did you start out training with Kia?
I met Kia probably. He saw me playing probably around like 12 or 13, and then
Okay.
I started like coaching with him, or he started training me probably when I was 13 or 14.
Okay.
And I honestly haven't stopped since, and it's been about 15 or 16 years ongoing
Wow.
that we're still working together.
No, that's amazing. That's amazing. Do you still play pickup baseball? Do you still go out there and go to the batting cage or just knock the ball around, anything like that?
Yeah, I got my old high school buddies back at home that I try and see back at home, and then whenever I get back home, there's always Kia. He's always trying to challenge me to soccer, tennis, and all this stuff, all the little games. So I got that every time I'm back home.
Right, right. Where'd you grow up?
In a little town called Wickliffe, Ohio. It's about 15 minutes east of Cleveland.
How'd you end up going to Louisville? Did you get any attention from Ohio State? What was special about Louisville? You went to Louisville for college, right?
Yeah, I went to Louisville. I had a decent amount of attention from all over the country, and I had the coach at Akron at the time left Akron, and Akron was very good, and went to Louisville. Mm-hmm. And I gave him a verbal commitment saying that I wanted to play for him. So he said, "Come down to Louisville, check it out. If you like it, I'd love for you to come down here." So, and that was that. But I think that was probably one of the better moves for me to go there, because I got the chance to play all the time, right, because he was starting out fresh there.
Right, right. Was that close to home for you? Louisville close to home?
It was close enough, we'll say. It's about a 6-hour ride south.
Oof.
But it was close enough.
You can't just go home anytime.
Yeah, I know. It was close enough, but it was far enough away where I couldn't run home every weekend.
Right. What was your backup option? If that coach didn't have a spot at Louisville, where would you have gone? Would you have stayed at Akron, or what was the other option?
I think there's a couple different schools. Clemson, I think Virginia Tech maybe, or Virginia, and then SMU down in Texas. With a couple other ones.
Okay. Oh, that's some nice soccer schools right there. Do you guys have do you get to go back to Louisville? Do you guys do like alumni games where you get to go back? Do you get a chance to go back and participate in that, or they don't have that?
They haven't. We haven't. I haven't been able to do it yet, but they do it. I think they've done it in the past, but they've built a new stadium since we left. And we've been asking them for about 3 or 4 years when they're going to get an alumni game.
Right.
Play in the stadium.
You guys want to test it out? Yeah. I'm not mad at that at all, man. Test it out. So let's go back to while you was younger, right? So, and this is obviously something that we're still going through in America when it comes to like youth soccer players and the kids, and you know what just happened with the DAs and all of that. So when you were playing growing up, did you? I mean, obviously, as you got a little older in the teenage years and you got good at it. Did you start getting rumors and words in your ears and whispers about, hey, maybe you should join an academy team? Did you ever think about joining? Did you ever think about skipping college and just going straight to the pros? Was that ever an option?
Yeah, that was, I think when I was younger and Kia grabbed me up, we had a somewhat of a special kind of scenario up there in Cleveland where we had a bunch of different clubs. It still goes on today, but there was no academies back then. So we had a bunch of clubs, and we essentially took all probably top 3 or 4 players from each club and made one team, and we trained together for about 5 or 6 years.
Right. Okay.
So it was essentially academy before the academy started, and I want to say probably from that group of players, there was probably 30 of us or 25 of us that made it to either D1 or D2 college and then went on to play pro after that in some form or whatnot. So I haven't heard too many scenarios like that, even with academies with that many players coming out of one group going professional. we were kind of just doing it on a whim back then in the day. And Kia and a couple other coaches were pretty much behind all of it and running it, which was, I mean, he has a little bit of madness to his game and his methods, but it was good back then. And coming from a young kid, I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just showing up playing soccer and learning everything I could. And looking back at it now, I'm glad I went that route, because I could have went other routes where I stayed and played with my friends at my club and
Right.
maybe not got to the places where I needed to get to.
Right. Do you think we need more of that though? Like, do you think that's something that the country is missing a whole lot? Because I'm pretty sure that probably wasn't cost a lot of money for you guys to do doing that, being that you guys kind of just started doing it on your own. But now, if you want to get that competition and play with better teammates, you have to pay so much money. Unless the DA club picks you up, then they cover all those expenses. Do you think we need more of like quality teams and quality leagues for youth? Because it's still watered down a little bit, right? And I'm involved in the youth ranks out here, so I see it all the time. Do you think there's something that's missing development of kids for us to start producing a lot more better youth players?
Yeah, for sure. And I think I'm starting to see it more now as I'm getting towards the latter end of my career and
Right.
looking at coaching, is that I think the kids they don't need to be restricted by politics and like money. And I think that's a lot of what gets pushed into like even the DAs and stuff like that. They say it's all about the soccer and the kids, but if you look deeper into it, yeah, like there'll be kids there playing just because they know somebody that knows somebody and they're on the board of something.
Right.
And they'll have a phenomenal player that might not have those connections, that has to pay the outrageous amounts of money, and the family can't afford it at the end of the day.
Right. Right. But it takes a lot of money to be able to play for a quality coach and a quality team. So, I mean, I guess the question then becomes, where would the money come from to fund a quality league or quality team and pay for the coaches to be able to put the time in to train these kids, right?
Yeah, I mean, it would take, I don't know how I think where it needs to come from is the U.S. Soccer Federation, almost like the national team, where they need to put a big umbrella over everything and then just narrow it down from there, and have almost like they did the ODP with like regional teams, but it needs to be more specific than that, where they have maybe 20 teams or 20 locations across the country, and you're funneling certain kids in which way. But even at the youth age, like, you need to start preparing. If we want to step up in years to come, we need to start preparing like the young kids to know that like you're playing for a professional spot in 5, 10 years or 15 years. So like potentially you can become the next Messi, or at 17 you're gonna be stepping on the World Cup stage. Like that's what I think we don't understand as players at a young age here in America.
Do you think we babying the players though? Do you think we're just not being hard enough on them? Because you think about it, like kids go practice for an hour and they send them home. Like, you got to get off, you got to rest your leg, or obviously you don't have the field to train all day if you don't live in a warm weather state. But I feel like there's a lot of softness when it comes to training, how hard we push them, how hard they train, or how often they train. Do you think we just baby the players?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a little bit of both. I mean, there's I think a tug of war effect. Like if you push players too much, then they say, oh, that's too much. But at the same time, like if you look across the world, like there's players that play in the street from sun up to sundown, and that's the training they came from, and that's how they learn to play the game.
Right.
But I don't know. I think,
and we don't have that luxury here, right? Because you can't just send your kids outside to go play without worried about them being kidnapped or or having something bad happen to them. So we don't have that luxury, which is why players almost need to have a coach for them to play, which also restrict development, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, those are the limitations we face here in America and whatnot. And like, sadly, that's what strickens the kids' play. But at times, like we need to figure out a way around that problem to let kids be able to play as much as they want. Because like when I was young, I played. I mean, I'm thankful for my parents, but like they would literally drop me off at the training facility after school. It was an indoor place in Cleveland because it was cold. So, but I would be there from like 5:30 or 6 until 11 o'clock at night until it closed, and just play for 5-6 hours straight, like pickup games.
Yep. Right. But we don't have that no more though. Like I can tell you for sure on my side, of the country is there is no place to just drop kids off and they play. Because for us, the facility will not let them do it unless because they have to charge money for you to use it. And when you are using it, do you have enough kids to play with? And if there's only one or two kids, then the kids don't want to play and they start playing water guns and walls and other silly games, right? So again, there's a lot of hindrances there. And I guess, like you said, what is the Federation doing and what are we doing to fix all those things?
Yeah, and I don't know. I think that's one of the fundamental things that's wrong with, I think, soccer in America is we don't have the basis of finding or building up our kids. Right. And that's where it starts. We're not going to have, I feel like soccer's waiting for the next LeBron James or the Messi to come out of America and be a soccer player.
Right.
And I don't think, unless you create that environment, you're not gonna find that.
Yeah.
Like if you talk to LeBron or Messi or all the top players that play any sport, you can tell them like they're up at the park every day nonstop shooting the basketball or playing football, all that. Like there was no limitations on how much they could play.
Right. All day long.
Yeah.
All day long. I had a kid when I used to live in Jersey. I was in high school then, and there was this kid that used to walk around the neighborhood right around 4. School's over, he went home, drop his book bag, have a lunch or whatever he needs, and he leaves. And I see him dribbling the basketball down the street. And eventually I asked my neighbor, I said, man, this kid always dribbling the ball down the street every single day. And he said, yeah, his parents won't let him stay in the house until it's dark, so you got to go train. Right. So I don't know his name, but I won't be surprised if he's out there playing either overseas or in the D League or in the NBA. I don't know. But it was dedication. Literally was every single day after school. You can hear him bouncing the ball all the way down to the park. And you don't hear that ball bouncing until it's dark and he's going back home. Hopefully get his schoolwork done. And then, and then it makes sense to play ball because that's another thing with America is you can't play ball if your grades are not good. So, so none of that matters. But anyway, so you end up going from Louisville, got drafted in the MLS, and away LA Galaxy. What was that like? How was that journey? What was that like?
It was pretty crazy, actually. Even the draft process, because it's pretty much set up like every other draft in America, but it's like you don't have the signing bonuses and all that stuff that like is life changing. Like I signed to LA. I think I was the last pick in the second round, but I signed out to LA, and I think I still had to go into preseason and fight for a spot. So it wasn't like I signed and I was a professional player that day.
Right.
But I was walking into probably the best club in the league for the past 2 or 3 seasons, and I mean we had David Beckham, Landon Donovan, Robbie Keane showed up that season, and just a list of like old veteran professional MLS players that were already there. So I mean it was crazy going there and then playing with those guys and making the squad. And the 4 years I was out there was it wasn't eye opening at the end, but like in the beginning it was like the mentality of that we had at Louisville, because we had a good team at Louisville. The mentality that we had like on game day was every day there for training, and you could tell it was like, as a professional, and it was like 35-year-old men like playing like they're 18-year-old kids, and like you don't see that anywhere before until you get to the professional ranks here in America. Like I've never seen that before. Like you play men's league on like Saturdays and stuff like that, and it's a little bit different, but you don't see or you don't play against like grown men until you get out of college, unless you're professional.
Right. And so what was that like? What was the biggest difference in that? Was it the size, the pace, the smart? What did you notice playing against those grown men?
I think it was like the collective altogether. I mean, obviously they were a little bit more athletic and faster, just that transition period from hopping right into pros. But like with having David and the top class players from like around the world there, it was their mentality was like night and day difference from like the American players to the foreign players. Right. And that was one of the, like David's mentality and a couple of the Brazilians' mentality, like it was, you could tell that they had a different upbringing,
different level, right?
A reason for playing the game. You could tell they fought for it for like their life.
Right. all their
And
lives, right?
and that's one thing I think in America. The one thing in America is hard to replicate is that like you can play soccer, but like you don't have to, like you're not fighting for it as a child. Like you want to be the best player, but you want to support your family by playing this game.
Right, right, right. And that's the way that kids that play baseball, kids that play football, and kids that play basketball. That's how they actually approach it, right? With the
Yeah,
mentality and the dream of being professional basketball player and soccer and football players. But I don't really hear a lot of it when I go to these youth games and these places where a kid talk about being a professional soccer player. You know, I mean, it's pretty sad, but there's no
yeah,
reason why some of these kids here, you know, at this grassroots cannot be thinking about how far can I go,
yeah.
right? So being in LA, so who was your favorite player? Who was your favorite teammate when you were out there?
Watching, like actually playing with and watching was David Beckham. I grew up watching him and all that stuff. So like going out there to actually play with him was like pretty much dream come true. And like he was probably my favorite player playing, but like player wise, like personality and friends and all that stuff, it was one of my roommates that I had for about 2 or 3 years out there, Brian Gall.
Mm,
And me and him just clicked. He was from Chicago, and we actually played against each other in college, and we went through all the rookie season stuff together, and then we won a couple championships, and we still talk to each other through
nice.
everything. So it's fun. I got a bunch of great relationships over the years with the turnover of players and stuff like that, but it's nothing like going through everything you're going through and then being there, somebody with you in the exact same boat, going through it with
Right.
you.
Right. If you end up in a different club that didn't have all the mega stars and or the world class players being bought over in LA, you think your mother's career would have gone different? Because you were with the Galaxy for a couple of years, loan a few times, and then you eventually left. You think it would have been different if another team had picked you up and not
Yeah,
Galaxy?
yeah, I think so. I mean, that's why, like in the draft where I got drafted, because I was supposed to. The rumor was I was supposed to go around like 10 or 12 spot, but I was supposed to go to like Toronto or DC or Columbus, one of the Eastern teams that they were good, but I could actually have like a realistic chance of fighting for a
Consistent.
starting spot.
Right.
And then something happened, the player fell off, and then the order got messed up. But I think if I potentially could have got out and played in more games in the first like year or two of my career, I probably would be. I would think I would like to say I'd still be in the league playing,
Mm,
but like it was so hard to break into. Like my first
that
year was
Galaxy team.
David. Yeah, it was David's last year, and then they had two Brazilians in there running for David to help him, like help, so he didn't have to do as much running. And then they were there
Right.
still for another 3 years after David left. But yeah, it
Yeah,
would
that's
have
tough.
been. I think about that from time to time, but I don't think I'd change it just because of the experience
The
and
experience.
just like when you hear other players talk about them being at like not the smaller clubs but without the superstars and stuff like that, they don't have that
Hmm.
experience of knowing what they've been through a little bit or experiencing like the stardom of Beckham or the morale that he brings from all the stuff that he's done in the past, and then the unbelievable stuff that he does while you're there training with him.
Hmm. Right. Right. Yeah. I look at that roster and I was like, man, that's a tough roster to break into, especially to spend all that money on those big stars that come in. But like you said, though, you know the experience of just being there and learning from the best, that has a lot. That says a lot. So I can definitely see that. But you had a chance to stay though. You had a chance to stay in the MLS after you left Galaxy and you went to FC Cincinnati, and then they went from the USL to the MLS. You had a chance to stay with the team, but you didn't want it to. What happened there?
It was they were like we had talks and stuff like that. I mean, they told us before they even uh, were going MLS that they were probably thinking about keeping half of the USL team and then
Okay.
picking up. So there was gonna be a big changeover, and then as it got closer to the end, the number started going down, and they only decided to keep, I want to say like 6 or 7. But they brought me aside and pretty much told me they were saying that in the harsh ways that I wasn't good enough and they were going to find somebody to play my position, and then I would be second or third string. And
Mm,
I've already been there at LA, and the reason I left LA was I wanted to play the game again,
want to
actually
play.
play.
Right.
And I told them, I was like, I know I can play in the league. I've been there before. I've seen it. We've played against the teams in the league, but I told them at the end of the day that I don't. That's not where I'm at in my career. I want to still play this game and enjoy playing it. I'm not ready to go back to being a training player and a reserve.
Right. Right.
So I think that was ultimately about a better decision for me is to leave. I mean, I don't know. I had so much fun coming from LA, going to Cincinnati, and having the ability to play week in and week out. And
Right.
the
You were there
group,
for what, 2 years?
yeah, we were there for 3 years. And the group that started it, that came that first year, there was probably about, I want to say 16 of us that were coming off of that same scenario. So
Right.
everybody was like just happy to play and enjoyed playing the game. And we had so much fun just enjoying the game like we were little kids again.
Right, because you guys were the reason why they really started thinking about going to the MLS, right? I mean, I think you guys, that was it 3 years ago, you had that phenomenal season where it was on all over ESPN.
Yeah. And I mean, we talked about it the first year when we were like, yeah, maybe this would be cool if we can go MLS, but like, there's no way we're going to be here when this club goes MLS. You don't do that fast. But yeah,
Right,
it happened.
help them get there and then get left behind, right?
Yeah. But I mean, it's bittersweet. I mean, I'm happy for the club. I still talk to people and in the organization and everything. So, but hopefully, I mean, I can get back there soon, and maybe I'm still playing. But if not, I can give back to the club in different
In
ways
different
with
way.
coaching.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Now,
So
I know you mentioned, career coming to an end soon, and you definitely looking into coaching. How hard have you been thinking about that, and where do you think you would like to start?
I've actually been thinking about it for the past like I'm gonna say 2 years. Not about retiring, but about how I want to go about coaching at which level.
Right.
And I don't know. I'd like to be able to. The one thing, I mean, this sounds harsh because I've seen it. I see it happen even when I was coming up playing. Like I would see it and just be like, man, that's rough. Is I would love to be able to avoid dealing with parents,
Mm,
but
yeah.
I would really like to coach at that age of like anywhere from 9 to like 13 or 14. Like it's almost like that prime development stage where you can push them fitness wise a little bit, but you can also teach them everything and they will absorb it if they want to.
Mm,
But then I also want to stay. It would be nice to stay in the professional ranks where you have players that are driven that know week in week out like I have to bring
you have
everything
to bring
or I
your
could
A game. Right.
yeah.
Right.
So there was
Right. Right. And I mean, obviously that's possible because when you played the level you played, it's a lot easier to get a coaching gig, I mean, even just getting your license alone. I mean, you got to skip all the E's and the F's and the D's and the C's. You can probably go straight to A or a B.
yeah.
I was talking to a buddy of mine that is assistant at Columbus Crew, and he was telling me, he said, you need to go get all your licenses if you're thinking about coaching at a higher level one day, because that's one thing that would at least get looked at by the other teams. Was if you have at the least your what did he say, my B, I think it said. If I have my B, he said at least I would be able to get calls and people would talk to you.
Yeah.
So, and that's me not having an MLS background, and so imagine with your background, definitely it would be an easy thing, and that's probably something you should definitely look at very hard and very likely. But you can't avoid the parents, bro. I mean, as
Yeah.
long as you're coaching those little guys, the parents are going to be there.
Yeah, no.
I mean,
I don't that's the one thing I would love to do, but at the same time like you also learn so much from the parents just from doing like individual coaching that I've already done so far that
right. Right, and
it's like
and those are the best, right? The one-on-ones, those are the best, or the one-on-twos with the kids, because the parents understand what they're getting out of it. So there's no question about playing time, right? It's all about training.
yeah.
So absolutely, I had a parent actually ask me, "Why is my kid playing defense? It doesn't play defense." It's like, why? I mean, before the season started, she actually came to me and said, "Coach, my son doesn't like playing defense, even though he played defense for the JV team. The coach just put him back there, but he hates it, and I hate it." I said, "Okay." And then we had a game where I just didn't take my defender out just for a breather. So I said, "All right, let's put him in the back. I know he can handle it just for a couple of minutes." The kid is smart, and the kid just want to play. He doesn't care if it's a goalie, a winger. It doesn't matter. The kid just wants to play.
Yeah.
So he's like, kid looked at him and said, "Coach, I'll go in. I can fill in for 5 minutes." I said, "You know what? Go ahead." So I put him back there for like a couple of minutes. The next day, the next morning, I got an email from his mom saying, "Coach, I noticed that my son was playing defense yesterday. He doesn't play defense. He hates it back there." And I'm thinking to myself, no, the kid love to play. You hate it back there because you want him to play midfield and forward because that's where the glory comes from. Because the goal comes and all of that good stuff. So I get it, but I don't know. I mean, if you coach a team, it's tough, bro. The parents are always going to be in your ears. And I think the college level is different because you're on your own. The parents don't want to get involved. But the clubs, man, it's tough, man. So how do you like Indy 11, man? How do you like living in Indianapolis? That's where you are now. It's your second year coming up, right?
Yeah, I mean, we enjoyed it a lot. We're actually right now we're currently moving to Louisville temporarily just because of the coronavirus stuff and all that. But we just had our firstborn about three months ago.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you. We got a bunch of family down there, and the wife wants to let the little girl grow up around her cousins and stuff like that. So we're moving down there for a little bit, and then I'll be making a drive up here to play every day or every week.
Oh, that's not bad. What is that, a 2 hours drive, 2 to 3?
Yeah, it's about 2, like a little under 2. You can make it, but it's not too bad. But
yeah, that's not bad. So when the season starts and you have to train almost probably every day, that's gonna be a little hard making that drive. Or are you gonna be staying in Indy for some days?
Yeah, I think I've talked with the coaching staff already. We might, we usually have one day off a week, and most of the time it's like Wednesday. So might figure out how to do drive in on Monday and then stay Tuesday, or drive in Monday, train Monday, stay Monday night, train Tuesday, and head back home on Wednesday, and figure out some kind of schedule like that. So it's not so much driving load.
Yeah, you don't want to be exhausted and not able to do all your running that you're doing that midfield.
Yeah.
So, I know, right? I mean, speaking of midfield, what's the position that you think helps you the most to transition into midfield?
I would say I want the center back position.
Center back, okay.
I mean, the only hard part for me is that when you're because I've played pretty much everywhere besides striker throughout my career and in college or whatnot. Center back, you can always see the entire field. And if you, for a midfielder, that when I've moved back there and you can see the entire field, it makes the game so much easier. You ain't got to worry about people being behind you unless you're defending.
Right.
But as you move into the midfield, the only thing is if you can keep that mindset of you can see the whole field, but you have to pick your head up and look. That's where I say that's probably the only hard transition part is moving from that center back position where you can see everything, and then you go into the midfield and your time and your space is restricted, but you have more options as the center midfielder, and that's probably my favorite part is that there's no limitations in the directions that you play. You can go back, left, right, diagonal, or you can get really close, really far away, and you have all that. But I don't know. For me, that's probably the easiest one to transition from midfield to defense, or even center back defense to midfield. And then I'd say strikers are you gotta have a nose for goal, or you gotta have it's a different type of not all striker positions, but like a true 9 or a true 10 is a different type of whole thing altogether. That's probably one of the hardest ones is the 9-10 role.
Yeah, I mean your whole job is to score. So if you're not scoring, you're not playing.
Yeah.
I mean that's what I tell every striker for that I have. I said, listen, hustle, run, do all of that. At the end of the day, if you're not scoring, we have to question your job up front. But if you're doing something else, like you're hustling and winning the ball back, we may leave you up there, but you gotta do something.
Yeah.
You can't just be out there just filling in space. Then no, we're not doing that. You got to be out there. If you're a striker, I need shots on goal. I mean, we need a lot of things. So,
Yeah.
I mean, but I think midfield is the easiest, in my opinion, man. Your responsibility is a lot more lighter. You just got to make sure you're close enough. But
Yeah.
and defense is just tough, man, especially when you're those wing backs, man. Those fast guys coming at you from the wings.
Yeah. If you're not fast, that's one position that's changed the most over the time that I've started playing till now is the outside back position. Because if you're not fast nowadays, like you're gonna be in trouble.
You're done.
You're gonna get up and down, and then somebody's gonna run past you.
They're gonna cook you. They are going to cook you, man. It's a lot of fast guys out there, and that's what coaches do. If they see how fast you are, they throw you on the wings right away. Oh, he's fast. Put him on the outside. Just send those long balls and have him chase it down. And as a midfielder, right? Are you more interested in just knocking the ball around and finding the right gaps to play the ball? But because you said earlier, picking your head up, but are you looking to get it and finding whoever's up top? If I can get him a long ball, I'm sending it. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, for me personally, like I love like being able to play and consistently doing that stuff. But also like my favorite team to watch is Barca over the past like 6 or 7 years. But I'm also like, you always have to know that you need to be able to look in behind. And that's one thing I think that not coaches, but players, they have like that skewed view of like, you want to play like Barca, but Barca never kicks the ball in behind. Like
Right.
Barca will kick the ball in behind if you give them the space to run in behind, and they will play it there every single time.
Of course. Right. As well as you should.
But
If you give somebody space, they should play that ball.
yeah, but the only reason there's not that much space is because people respect them, not too much, but they respect them enough to drop their lines to leave that space.
Right.
Not like, yeah, that's not there for them. So, but yeah, I like to knock the ball around and make the team move and chase a little bit, but also like you got to be able to change it up and have that direct ball every once in a while, or at least even if it's not a ball in the air, it's a 10, 15-yard ball on the ground that breaks through the midfielders and even potentially defenders.
Absolutely. What's your favorite formation?
I like the 3-5. I like the 3-5-2 with.
Of course, you're a midfielder. Of course.
Yeah, I know. I don't know. I like a 3-5-2, but I do enjoy a 3-4-3 with a diamond close in the middle.
Okay, a diamond in the middle. Okay, 3-4-3.
Yeah, but you just got to have the right players for the formation. But if you can do a 3-5-2 with wingers that stay high and almost play a 3-3, 6?
Yep.
Yeah, you're good to go.
No, I mean that's what you want. Like I'm all about attacking soccer. I feel like that's what makes Barcelona and Liverpool so great because they always pin you back. They make you worry about them. They're not worried about you.
Yeah.
Right. So I hate that 4-4-2 formation. I mean, nothing's wrong with it, but it just feel like if you don't have the right type of players, that's the one thing that everybody just wants to play. It's the safe choice, so I get it. But so it's safe to say you are a Barcelona fan. That's your team.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up watching Manchester United and like David and all those guys back in the day. But like since Ferguson's left, it's been hard to watch them over the past.
Smart guy. I'm a United fan as well. So yeah, that's great. It's funny. I was texting my buddy, he's a United fan, and I was like, "Listen, man, I just sent contacts over to get Marcus Rashford on the podcast." And he was like, "Yeah, you get him on. I'm gonna be a co-host for that." I'm like, "No, you're not. No, you're not. Yeah, just listen. If he comes on, just listen." So yeah, no, I'm a United fan as well. So definitely excited having Paul comes back and hopefully it helps. It doesn't break the team.
Yeah, no. I mean, they just need to figure out how to not just keep him happy, but like he needs to be able to have his free role. But I don't know.
But there's only 2 guys that's ever had a free role in the last 10 years. That's Messi and that's CR7. So, and those guys give you 50 goals every single year. So you want a free role, but you have to do more. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'll give you a free role, but not for 10 goals a year.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
not at that club. You can't have the free roll, and I think that's where the
you gotta be
problem lies.
the best in the world and you get that free roll. Like, if Messi
Yeah,
comes to United today, please let that man do whatever he wants. You
yeah,
know, because you still guaranteed to get 30+ goals every year. That's when you get a free roll.
yeah,
You know, so that's my only problem with him. But hopefully he's had enough time to kind of come down a little bit and give us a lot more.
yeah.
So give me your top 5 soccer players right now.
Currently,
Mm-hmm.
I like Ronaldo, Messi. I would love to say Xavi, but I know he's not playing anymore.
Right.
Iniesta.
Nope, not playing.
I know. All right, let me see. Top 3.
Marcelo, the left back?
Yeah, I love watching that man play. I mean, I know he's getting up there in age and stuff, but that's my man. I've actually been watching the new kid for Dortmund up top. Can't forget his
Haaland?
name. Yeah,
Haaland.
he's gonna be something in about 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
He's gonna whenever he makes his jump to whatever club he goes to,
Yeah,
and
Madrid.
then I would say Hazard, but he hasn't been since he left Chelsea. He's not the same player.
Well, it's kind of hard when you get fat. When you
Yeah, I
put on
know.
when you put on 20 pounds of fat, it's kind of hard to do anything with a soccer ball.
It's
You
true.
know.
But
Yeah, did you hear they said he was eating cheeseburger pretty much every day?
what?
Yeah, that's what it was. Just eating cheeseburger every day. That's it. I mean, that time I went and see him play when it came to Jersey against what was it, Atletico? Yeah, and I could tell I was there at that game. They got beat down, and I can tell he was fat. I'm like, this is one fat ass man. This is, Azar got to drop like a good 20 pounds to get in soccer shape, and he did after he got hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so you're saying Messi, Ronaldo, Haaland, Marcelo, and maybe Hazard is your 5th?
Yeah, I'll give it to him for right now.
So what about Sadio Mane, Mo Salah, Van Dijk, Lewandowski, Mbappe, Kevin De Bruyne?
I like them. It's just I feel like I've been not watching them for too long, and they've been doing the same things. I know Marcelo, Messi, Ronaldo are in there. They've been around a while. Hazard, but I don't know. It's hard to pick a player from Liverpool. I mean, I know they've been amazing for the past, I want to say 3 or 4 seasons, and same with Man City. But it's hard being a United fan and picking those guys out. But for me, like over the past 4, maybe 6 years with Barca and that crew in the midfield, it's hard finding players that play that style again.
Right.
But they have a team that they had their system and they ran it to perfection. And then you have Messi, he just does his thing sitting back there.
Right.
But, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of great players to choose from. And I mean, you can learn if you watch. One thing that I would say for kids is, I tell them this all the time, go ahead and find a player and watch him, but then go find somebody else, somebody new that's coming up or that you haven't seen, maybe they played in the past, and you can still learn stuff from watching them, just YouTube videos or games and stuff, and you'll learn something different from every different player around the world.
Very true. Very true. So now that we got your top 5 of the guys currently playing, give me your top 5 of all time. The top 5 players of all time, in your opinion. And please don't say Pele, because you were not old enough to appreciate Pele. I had a 22-year-old on the show telling me Pele was his top 5, and I wanted to slap him. There's no way in hell Pele is your top 5. If you under 40, no, Pele cannot be your top 5.
I know. I've never. It's sad to say, but I've never seen him play. And same with Maradona. I've only seen video clips and stuff like that. But
right,
I'd say my top 5 is Zidane, Ronaldinho, Ronaldo, not Cristiano, Ronaldo, Brazil.
The phenomenon, right?
Messi's up there,
Mm.
and Xavi, Barca.
And Xavi. Wow. That's
Henri,
a
I'll give Henri a 6.
get out of here. Get out of here with that. You just messed that up, man. I should hand this on that note because there's no way Henri's in there. Come on. It was nice,
No,
but not that nice.
he's not in there. No.
Yeah, I don't have Ronaldinho on my 5 either. I think it was fun, but I think he messed it up and wasn't consistent enough to end up in it. But I'll put him in the top 10 for his impact in the game.
Yeah.
And the dominance he had, and he changed the game a lot. But I think if that man not taking it serious, he probably could have been one of the top 5 all time to play. But I definitely agree with Messi's in there, CR7's in there, Zidane's in there, Maradona's in there because I think I see enough of him, enough tapes, not black and white, like what they have for Pelé to put him up there. So, and then of course I have to put one of my Manchester United players in there. So I always throw Ryan Giggs in there, just throw him in there. Put him in there.
I think one of my favorites, and I know a lot of people overlooked him, was Scholes.
Yeah, Paul. Scholes.
Yeah. My man was good. Definitely. He was clean on the ball.
Yeah. And I remember, what's his name? R9, like you said. R9 is great. So R9 probably go in there, not Giggs. R9 go in there. And, I mean, that old Real Madrid team, man, they had everybody on that team. So you can literally go through the list and start throwing guys in the top 10, like Roberto Carlos and all those guys.
Yeah.
No, man. Hey, Kenney, really, man, appreciate you coming on. It was fun to talk soccer and just kind of talk going up, playing the game. I definitely think, once you jump into coaching, I think it'll be fun, man. You probably make a lot of impact on this kid's life. I think it's, younger guys like you and I, having played and still playing and seeing the game a little different, I think we're definitely bringing something different to the game than some of these older guys do. So, and you think about it, soccer is the only sport where, these kids are being trained by guys that didn't play, parents that didn't play, parents that hadn't played since 5th grade. So it's really difficult for these kids to learn when you're being taught by people that don't understand the game. They go on YouTube and find a drill and show it to you. And the kids don't do nothing else after that. So I think having people like you eventually transition into coaching and a lot of other young adults that actually play to a higher level, I think it's great. I think it's great for this country. I think it'll be good for our development. But like we said all along in this conversation, there has to be a lot more discipline, and we probably have to train a little harder and more often just to kind of fall in line with the way the basketball guys do, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think one thing we got to learn though, it's not gonna be like a 5 or 10 year thing where it's gonna change. It's gonna be probably I want to say maybe a generation. Like our kids might be that generation that makes that real jump, but it's gonna.
But let me ask you this though: rather than wait 10 years, you don't think we can grab the top 50 players in this country right now and train them for a year or two, and they can compete? I'm not talking like 14. We can find some really badass 16, 17-year-olds that are extremely good, don't need to go to college, right? Or so many DAs. Put them somewhere and just train them for a year or two of competitive, high-level training. You don't think they can be ready to, change the game for America? I think they can, but can they get the training consistently for 2 years?
Yeah, I mean, you can always do that. I think that's one thing, because I got not drafted, but down to the national team, and it was something like that where they took 30 or 40 of the best kids and put them down residency in Florida for 2 years, and we literally just trained and played games and go around the world and play games and whatnot. But it turns out that it works, but it doesn't, you don't have a foundation. And I think that's what America needs. And that's where the time factor is going to come in. If you want to go ahead and say this next World Cup or the World Cup after, if you want to get a team ready for that, you can go grab a list of 40 players and these are the 40 players I want right now. And we are training. I don't know how you do it, but you got to put them together and play games over the next 6-year time frame or 4-year time frame and have them prepared for that World Cup in 4 years. But I think that will be the time that, like, you can have that done. But then at the end of it, you don't have the foundation for the next group unless you're consistently doing that over and over and over again.
Right. Absolutely. And do we want to invest and put money into it? That's the biggest question is, putting money into it. And I have no problem with with some of these foreign-born players that are getting called in, because at the end of the day, they're still Americans, and that's all that matters. So, I hear a lot of women say, "Oh, why do they keep getting all these foreign players?" Well, because a lot of them are actually good.
Yeah.
and that's what we need, right?
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter where you play the ball. If you're good enough and you can play MLS and you can survive here and then make an impact on the national team, fair enough.
Yeah.
But
fair enough. You just got to go out right.
Yeah.
If you get an invite, just go out there and show your stuff. And if your stuff is good enough, they're not going to turn you down.
No, I know.
Right. They can't send you home. They got to give you a ticket to the next flight. Let's go. Let's go to the next World Cup or whatever it is that you have to go to. So, but anyway, what you got going on for the weekend, man? Any big plan?
No, just relaxing. Maybe
The baby?
Yeah, I got the baby, but we might go down to where her parents have a lake house somewhere in Kentucky, like an hour off of Louisville. So
Okay.
we might head down there this weekend, get a little bit of R&R.
Absolutely. Always important, always needed. Thanks for joining me, my man. I appreciate this conversation, man. Thanks for taking the time out.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
All right. Absolutely. We'll do it again. Thank you.
Cool.
All right. Bye.
You've been listening to the Point Noted Podcast with Johnny B and Rashad B. Follow us on Twitter @PTNoted and Instagram @PointNoted. Hit the subscribe and follow button to follow us and check out more episodes of us talking a whole bunch of shit. You've been noted.